Hello, Corey. Oh my God, you're not wearing your
It's
giant
here.
crystal. You are okay. So that's how I kind of want to start. It's like, okay, so this is the story of how Corey and I met. Literally have never met this woman before in my life, and we're at the South Shore Conference for Women, and her booth is right next to our booth, and I noticed this beautiful crystal. It really is a beautiful crystal, but it was nestled between your bosom very well, and it's like, and we all anyone who has bosoms knows how hard it is to find the perfect boob crystal that settles in,
Hmm.
right? So you
Hmm.
notice like artistry, you're like, that's amazing. And I immediately knew I loved her. I was like, oh my God, this is just amazing, because and we became fast friends almost immediately, which I'm really
Hmm.
excited about, and so I'm very glad to have you here today, Corey. Corey, tell us a bit about yourself, because I already know you, but share yourself with us.
Yeah, so I am a feminine leadership coach. So I work mostly with women in leadership, business, pleasure. So I do a lot of work with women who are really trying to figure out who they are again and work through burnout and stress. So that's the work I do in the world.
Tell a little bit about your background.
Yeah,
You
so
tell me how you got here.
I mean, my first career was as a veterinarian.
That's right.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I owned a veterinary hospital for 10 years and then have been a coaching for 7. So like I started my journey in the professional world, right? Like was really good at what I did as a vet and then opened my own business thinking I knew how to do that, right? Like how to lead
Or don't we
teams, how to
all?
run business. Yeah, like if I have the skills to be a professional in my field, then obviously I'm going to have the skills to be a manager and a leader and own a business, right? Yeah, that's not the case. So, so I started really diving into all of that, right? Like I totally fell in love with leadership and communications and personal development because it was work that I needed to do to
Yeah.
be really good at what I was doing in the world at that time. And that passion kind of like overran the passion for what I was doing in my other career. And so my career has turned into this. So I founded like the Farrah Collective, all of those things based on the premise of being able to redefine the feminine experience, right? Like I want women to experience their lives in a different and bigger way. So that's what I do.
You know, it's interesting you said, because like this is sort of the nucleus of this video came from a conversation we were having at Shelley's Tea Room in Plymouth,
Hmm.
where we were talking about how like you were a vet and I was where was I do? I mean, I've done so many different things, and I feel like I've lost myself multiple times in multiple different ways, like depending on where I am. So I've lost myself in corporate, then I'm like, oh, now I found this part of myself, and then you lose yourself, in maybe trauma or relationships, and then, oh, hey, shit, who am I now? But I feel like I've multiple times, and this last time I think was probably the hardest, I'm in perimenopausal, so it was in late 40s, where I realized that I was sitting there and I'm like, I don't really know who I am anymore or what I am or what I want to do. Like, I felt like I was in this space where I had let so many other people like say what I should and shouldn't do, or how I should behave, or how I should show up, or what a woman is like, or what a non-binary person is like, or whatever, right? Like I felt my brain was about to explode. And you and I were talking about how the journey of figuring that out for yourself is like so brutal to do like alone. Like when I started doing this in like it was 2018 when I started, and there weren't a lot of people, like a lot of the people who are coaching now are people who started around that time. About 2018 seems to have been a big catalyst year, but it was like going blind, right? And so like do you like where were you when I was when I like 10 years ago, my friend? You're like, I was figuring my own shit out.
Yeah, I was on the same place, right? Like I totally was defined by the role I played in the world,
Yeah.
right? So like my career, my family, like I think that's something that's like the crux of the issue, right? Is as adults, we end up becoming defined by the roles that we play or the experiences that we've had. Like whether it's trauma of some sort or the career that we chose or being a partner or being a mom or whatever it is, right? Like so much of our experience in this life becomes our identity that we end up losing like touch with actually who we are. And that journey back is it's like a mind blowing kind of experience where you don't even kind of know where to start at first, I
Oh God.
think.
Where do you even start? Actually, where you start is actually. Let's come to where you start. So you're hosting something in January. January. I'm going. My wife's going. A lot of people I know are going. On January 11th.
January
January
11th,
11th.
yep,
I was like, please don't let
in
me get the
Plymouth.
date wrong. January 11th, 3V in Plymouth, and I want to actually frame the rest of our conversation around that, because I think it was such an interesting conversation that it inspired. But can you tell everyone a little more about what it is that you're doing and why they should come join us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Sunday, January 11th at 11:30, it's a 4-hour event. It's a ball gown brunch. So it is really all about how you get the opportunity to lean into the boldness that you kind of maybe haven't yet, how to kind of let that little spark of outrageousness kind of go within yourself and to kind of step into those things that light you up and may feel a little bit vulnerable at the same time. So it's really a chance for women to actually play and have fun and figure out what it is they like, how they represent that, and how they present themselves, and actually allowing yourself to be seen in that. So we're going to have a dance party. We have a DJ lined up. We actually have an amazing photographer, Lindsay Height,
Love Lindsay.
up who's gonna, yeah, and so she does brand and boudoir photography, so she's gonna be able to really capture everybody in that essence, which is what we really want. We want to be able to see, like, what is the opportunity, like how can I expand, and what are the ways that I can do that. So this brunch is one of the mechanisms for that, right? Because what we were just talking about with figuring out who we are, the place where we find our identity is where it feels vulnerable, right? Because that's where it means something to us. It's so easy to go out and do something that, like, I can go out and, talk about something that I care about, but if it's something I'm already known in the world, that's less vulnerable than if I were to show up in a way that is something I care about that only I know about.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think, it's also like, it's scary because it's when you something that you go out in the world all the time, right? Because you're going out in this way all the time. It's comfortable and it's safe and it's secure, but it also becomes like, eventually it becomes who you are, right? Like, so there's so many times in my life I've become somebody and I'm like, who the hell am I? How did I get here? And it's the momentum of work, life, whatever that did it. And I think there's not a lot of places that feel safe to be able to like experiment, to say like, oh, I want to try X. I want to try wearing this skirt that I wouldn't wear anywhere else, right? Or I want to try wearing a blue wig, or what, I'd wear a black wig. I'd try wearing a black wig. But just, like, it is very scary to be vulnerable, and I think having a space where the stated goal is be vulnerable, like we're all going to be vulnerable about something, right? Whatever it is that we're bringing to the space, we're all going to be vulnerable about. But, when we were at the breakfast, there was somebody who was talking next to us who said that she's like, I've only worn like sneakers and like running pants and sweaters for like years. Like, what else? I don't even know what else I would wear, and like, or what bold is. And you were saying how, well, it doesn't have to be something big. Like, it can be literally like maybe you're wearing bold earrings that you haven't worn before. Like, tell me a little bit more about, like, because like, I can be pretty bold. But that doesn't mean, like, if you're not doing this, it doesn't mean you're not being bold. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the whole point, is everybody's bold is different, right?
Yes.
So like your bold, Minessa, is so different than my bold, right? So like, and somebody else's bold that I meet on the street, it's going to be different than both of ours. It's really all about, like, where is there excitement for you and fear at the same time? For me, that's how I identify like my growth edge. And for the women that I work with, right? So like, I don't want you to be doing something that feels like I'm going to have a panic attack if I do this, right? It's like, what's the little thing that like feels a little bit juicy, that feels a little bit enticing? And like, my body's like lit up when I think about it, but I'm also like, oh gosh, I don't know, can I do that? Like, there's both, they coexist, right? So that could be anything from like putting a feather in your hair. It could be something as simple as, if you always wear black or dark green or gray, wearing like red or like a bright color. Like, it doesn't have to be a crazy ball gown or like stiletto heels or whatever. It's really like, what's the thing that for you want to experiment with? Like, if there's something that you're drawn to, is it big, bold earrings? Is it just wearing like a crazy shadowed eyeliner? Like, what's the thing that you've wanted to try that you haven't let yourself do, or you've been afraid to go out in public like that?
I think that's like,
Does that make sense?
I love, absolutely. I think that's like, it's tough when you're first starting on that journey. Cause I remember when I first started to like ask, like, I remember crying on the floor thinking, and I was really crying, this is not being melodramatic. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. Right. Like, and that became, so then that became like another question for me as I was trying to figure these things out for myself was and you wrote a post about this recently, which is still in my inbox 'cause I wanted to make sure I talk about it today with you, is you were talking about the title of your, if you're not already subscribed, you should be subscribed to her email. The link is going to be in the show notes, but it said the title of it was play as a performance strategy. And what I thought was really important about that was that I'd forgotten how to play, and I'm actually unsurprised, surprised at how many of us have forgotten that. Like, we don't, especially as women, we do not allow ourselves the opportunity to play at all. Like, I almost had a fucking panic attack. So I'm learning, as you know, I'm learning the flow arts, and I have a prop called the Boogang that I like to play with. And it was so terrifying to me. One of my first lessons, I was like, my coach said, he's like, just play around. And I was like, Scott, what are you saying? I don't know how to play around. And I didn't realize how scary that was for me. And I had to work through this idea that it is okay. Not only is it okay to play, it's actually important to play. And it's almost like, if you think about it, how many people do you think are afraid of coming to this kind of event because they're worried they're going to do it wrong?
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
And it's like, there is no doing it wrong. We're playing.
Exactly, right. And that's where the terror comes in, right? Like, totally, like, oh my God. I was at a conference this past week, and I was literally around 1,000 other coaches who do this for a living already. And if you're in that space, like, these are people that are like so in tune with themselves, who have so identified who they are, that they're really good at that stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're really good at play, and they're really good at like being bold and being out there. And I was watching them play being like, I wish I could do that. Like, there's a space in which we all want to expand, right? And so play is my edge right now. It's
Mine
totally
too.
my edge. It's that overachiever thing for me, right? Like, I always was in the space of, I think growing up, like, where's my value come from? Right? It comes from like showing what I can do, having a positive impact on the world. Play was never like a way that I did that. So it makes it harder to access, right? So yeah, like, this is a chance to play, right? Like, that's exactly what we're talking about, a chance to play with what it is that maybe interests you or maybe lights you up. I actually did a podcast about it this week. So that same topic, play as a performance
That's
strategy.
amazing. Yeah, listen, maybe that's actually what because I saved it for that. You know, what's interesting also is that when you start to, so I've been doing business coaching and marketing training for many, many, many years, and I have the same sort of philosophies and infrastructure within me that I do, that you do, which is, you know, my value comes from, you know, services. Somebody once said this to me, and I latched onto this like it was my gospel. Service is the price I pay for the space I occupy, and so that made me feel like I had to compulsively be producing or doing or serving or just always, you know, and I don't believe that anymore. In fact, I cannot, I see how much harm it did to me. But so for me, moving into that space of, there was a certain point in which I started to realize there was a law of diminishing returns where I was able to, the more hours was not producing more stuff, and something just wasn't working. And this was several years ago, and I have found a coach, her name was Toy Smith, and she and I had a 90-minute session that changed my entire life about how I had to approach, because she was the first person who articulated for me how play and rest are vilified in our culture to ensure that we will continuously be working ourselves to death and too tired to actualize. And so I think that, like, what I love about this one is that it's in Plymouth, because for fuck's sake, everything is in Boston, everything is in Providence. Like, it's such a drive to get anywhere, but like, this is close. It's at a completely reasonable hour of the day, right? So it's like a ballroom brunch, but like, it's going to be, I think it's an opportunity for us to take a minute and do something, which I think is the scariest thing, which is for me, is it's okay to play. Right. And like, that's something, a mantra I've been sort of like, this is my last, say, 3 months. And I actually feel like I'm starting to actualize it within my body, that it's okay to play. But like I fought it. I was literally crying. I was like, I don't want to go dancing. This is such a bad idea. And it's like, you're crying about going dancing. Like, what are you, 12? Like, if I was 12, I'd be really excited. I'm going dancing. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going dancing with the grown-ups. But I think that like we don't, like you said, we're all conditioned into that, into like just
Yeah.
never stopping and always going.
Right. It's like, okay, so if I stop and I play, what does that mean about me? Does it mean that I'm lazy or does it mean that I'm selfish or like
Yeah.
all those things go through our head, right? So, but the truth is, the more that we actually connect to what brings us joy, to what brings us pleasure, to what lights us up, the more we can actually actualize on the things that matter to us, right? So we are more effective leaders. We are more effective business owners. We are more effective humans
Yeah.
when we can be in touch with the things that we enjoy. And we've gotten so good at avoiding those things, like so good. We're masters at that. So this is a way that we can actually start to play with how do I actually do that? And one of my favorite ways to try to figure it out is to tap into the senses, right? So like if you don't know what it is that you enjoy, if you don't really have an idea of like what is my bold, right? Like go to a store and just pay attention to what are the colors that pop out to me? What are the colors that make me go, oh, that's pretty? Or what are the textures that feel good on my skin? What really pay attention to that. Like pay attention to the physical sensation. And then when you can take that, then you can expand on it. It's really all about like what is the thing that takes me into a place of enjoyment. And
It's
that makes
also
all the
okay to
difference.
not like something, right? Like, so
Yeah.
I had, so a lot of the things, so when I started, it's a certain point when I was trying to figure out, okay, who am I realized I had to, and what it was that there were things that I had said that I disliked, that suddenly I discovered I didn't dislike. I actually liked them, right? And I was like, well, what else isn't true about me that I thought was true about me, right? Like, I love sushi. I used to hate sushi. Well, I've changed then. So I had to experiment with everything and just try. And there are things that I still hate. I hate dates. I hated dates when I was a child. I hate dates now. I will always hate dates. This is not going to change. But like other things, I love ziplining. I didn't like that when I was younger. But you have to try them out. And even like if you decide you don't like it, it's still an experience that you're like, oh my God, that was, so this one time I went out to dinner with my wife and I hated dates my whole life. But I was like, listen, I adamantly hate dates, but I have to test this out now. I actually have a picture of this date, by the way. And I was like, I'm going to test this out. I'm going to get it was a date wrapped bacon wrapped date with like goat cheese and like, and I was like, I mean, like, there's some really good stuff here. Like, let's get it and try it. And so I order it because now I'm trying something new again that I know I hate, but I'm like, maybe I'll like it because I like sushi now. So it comes and I take a bite and I like, oh my God, I can even tell you like the feeling in my mouth of like, and I'm sitting there and I can feel myself wanting to like throw this up, and I've got this napkin, we're in a fancy restaurant and I don't know what to do because I'm like, I'm going to die. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to just try to like, but like all I have is like, I'm not going to drink it and swallow it, I haven't chewed it. And so I'm like, I'm going to spit it out in the bathroom. And Allie goes, just spit it out on your napkin. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. She goes, just spit it out on your napkin. So I did. But that memory is a really great memory. Like, it's a good story. That date was so disgusting. It was so fucking gross. But like, it was a good experience. It was worth the experience. I have a great story. I have a picture of the date. Like, just, you can try something. And I think a lot of times we think, oh, if I try it and hate it. Well, okay, well then you know. Right, then you know you hate it, and you know that green earrings aren't for you. So try a different color.
Right. But your point is so valid because there are so many times that we end up kind of like subconsciously narrowing our scope because of something that happened some point in our past, right? Like when we were in fourth grade, somebody said that the color of our shoes was disgusting. And so therefore, like, we're never going to buy blue shoes again because we don't like blue. You just don't know what things are like hanging around in your subconscious, right? So like you took that and you were like, I'm kind of curious about this. So that was your growth edge, right? It was like, I'm curious about it. I'm like, kind of interested. And I'm also kind of like, I don't know. And you did it and you were like, no, fuck no.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I don't
that's
like
not
this
for
at
me. And that's perfect. That's perfect because it's all about experimenting and figuring out like, okay, is this aligned or is it not? It's playing. It's like pleasure research. Like I'm researching what I like.
Right. And that, oh, wow, that sounds like right there. That sounds like you say that, and I've done the work, and I immediately felt the pang of, what? I'm researching something I like just because I like it? Like, no, that immediately the stories, like, and I think that's so interesting because the more, until we practice, like, it takes practice to, like, move it out of the body, right? And, like, so it's still in my body, even though I'm aware that play, and we're talking about this, and I'm so on board. You said play just because for pleasure, and I literally, my body recoiled, right? And that's how deeply ingrained this shit is.
Right. Yep. So
And
true.
that's why people need to be with us on January 11th so that we can do the practice. Because that's the only really way it happens is like when you're in a room of people all engaging in the same type of play and practice with the goal of literally of not producing, right?
Right. Isn't that crazy? Like
That's
the
insane.
whole
I'm
end
feeling very
game?
uncomfortable with this conversation.
It's fucking uncomfortable.
So, all right. So as we start to sort of wrap up, because we're going to be seeing each other in like, I mean, we'll see each other before then, but it's a journey to go from like, I mean, because we've talked about a bunch of things today, but it is a journey to go from going from like being like, I'm, you know, when I was like totally corporate America to being the way I look like, and not everybody wants to get here and you don't have to, right? Your journey could literally be, I'm getting a little tattoo here and that's what it's going to be for the rest of my life. But for whatever the internally, there's so much stuff that we have to wade through to like kind of get to the place where we're able to do whatever that growth edge is for us. Tell me a little bit about like, you know, because how can people work with you? Not necessarily like some people may want to work with you directly, but like what are some resources and things that you already have out there for people to start to explore this idea that it might be for them?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the easiest way is to access the Farrah Fireside podcast, which is something we just started a couple weeks ago. And that's going to kind of start to get you into the ideas of like, how could I play with this sort of stuff? How could I experiment? Really, what is my place where I want to grow? Because everybody has a different place, right? And it's not about changing who you are. It's about like owning who you are. Like, how do you actually get to that place? That's what we want. So there's the podcast. You can also check out thefarrahcollective.com, the website, and we have the Primal Leadership Program. We just finished off our fall cohort, and we'll be doing another one starting in the spring, which is really all about how you connect to your own experience and then use it to fuel what it is that you want in life. So those are 3 great ways that you can connect with us, and then really just one-on-one experiences. So if you have something that you really want to get work on together, one-on-one coaching is really the best way to get the highest impact in the shortest amount of time.
Oh my God. You know, it's interesting. So I'm a really big believer in the one-on-one. I typically don't like, I recognize that like there's many different budgetary limitations to what someone may or may not be able to do. But if you are able to like just hire a coach to work with the one-on-one, what I found, and I've done this a few times over the years, every time I'm like, I need to work on that thing, right? I need to work on I'm working on my spirituality portion. I'm working on opening up a marriage. I'm working on kink. I'm working on decolonization, whatever it is that I'm working on. I'll typically hire an individual coach because I find that one, it helps to like, I'm less afraid of just sharing my shit, but 2, it's also, we can literally talk about specific things that I'm rubbing up against, right? Like that are like very core to my trauma, my life, my thing. And it's so much faster, right? Like it took me like 10 years to get from one point to another. And then to go twice that length, it took me only 2 years because I had coaches. And like, it makes a really big difference. So I think working with you one-on-one would be amazing.
11.
On January 11th, because they can meet you, they can meet me, they can meet other members of the South Shore Women's Business Network, meet my wife. I would love to see what your bold thing is, right? Whatever, like my first thing that I ever did was a Sylvester tattoo on my arm and a little pink streak in my hair. And I had that for probably 11 years before anything else changed. It was only in the last 2 years or so that a lot of these things started to happen. But like felt so bold and so excited just having this tattoo and the one pink streak. Like it was like my little secret, my little bold. I loved it. And so I really love that you're doing this. Thank you so much for putting it's at the 3V restaurant.
3V in Plymouth from 11:30 to 3:30.
Well,
Yep.
I will be there. My wife will be there. Corey will be there. I mean, we'll all be there, as will the necklace. The necklace will also be there.
The necklace will be there, yes. And the point to drive home is there is no way that people can do this wrong, right? Like
That is
no matter
the point.
how
There's
you
no
show
wrong
up.
way.
Yeah. No matter how you show up. Just getting yourself there can be the thing that's bold for you.
Oh my God, that is so true. I remember leaving the house at some point was like, for me to leave the house to go somewhere was the biggest deal ever. And I was wearing pajamas, but look, it doesn't matter. I left the house, okay? It was, and that wear your fucking pajamas. It's fine.
Exactly.
There is
Yep.
no wrong way to be bold for you because only you know what that is. Like that's your story, right? Like, dude, I love it. I'm gonna see you in a month. I cannot wait to see what you're gonna be wearing. I can't wait to see what I'm gonna be wearing. I don't even know it.
I'm so excited.
We'll see everybody